one belief eliminated from your brain could change the course of your reality. Would you want that? It's not for everyone, only the brave. Those who want to own their life like the powerful leaders they were born to be. A pivotal moment can change everything. Now, here's the host of Crossroads to Awakening show, Wendy Paquette.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Crossroads to Awakening show. I'm your host, Wendy Paquette. I am a holographic mind reprogrammer, helping women stuck at a crossroads awaken to their true selves and change the world from where they stand. And as of recently, I've added a word onto that, stuck at a divine crossroads, awaken to their true selves. Because let me tell you, those moments come when you least expect it. But in this space, I believe as a high-frequency human, how you see your life is a direct reflection of the programs that are etched into your brain. And they can be easily shifted when you see your truth for what it is. So if you want to access your true self, find me on Facebook at the @ Crossroads to Awakening show. So welcome to today's show. I'm really excited because the topic for today's show came out of an experience that I had only last week. The topic today is called Embodying the Goddess Consciousness. So, wow, do I have a lot to share with what I experienced last week and what that actually looks like. So today's show is really an invitation for everyone that's listening and anyone who listens, after the show's actually aired on the podcast side, the divine moment for you to acknowledge your goddess self, your divine feminine Christ consciousness, is the moment that you receive it. The moment that it actually comes in, it shows itself to you, and you're aware of it. Because I get to be honest, fully honest with you right now, I was not aware of my divine feminine Christ consciousness until last week. I mean, I've acknowledged goddess before. I've acknowledged a lot of feminine qualities on its own and a lot of Christ consciousness on its own. But never have I ever pulled them together. And so for me, and everybody's at a different journey, but you're hearing my journey live here in this moment when I acknowledge my own feminine divine Christ consciousness, my own goddess in this space. It came last week in a moment of sheer download. It was on a day that I was getting ready to go into one of my morning coffees and standing in the facilities, looking into the mirror, putting makeup on and looking at my hair, fiddling with my hair and literally getting ready to go in to have coffee. And I experienced a really interesting, energetic moment where I felt the silence that is of those divine moments where it's indescribable and it's unmistakable. The moment where it's so silent that you're in inquisition as to what's actually happening right now. Is something crazy going to happen outside with the weather? What's actually happening? And in that moment, I was opened to listening to and hearing and being highly aware, even in my physical body, of a divine consciousness, a divine Christ consciousness that was in a feminine wave. And it arrived so suddenly that I wasn't sure how to feel. I felt a little nervous, I suppose, because I felt shaky, energetically shaky, even physically shaky. I also felt open, and I felt a wave of tears. And so all those things, I was literally looking in the mirror, wondering, what is happening right now? Those were the words in my head. What is happening right now? What is happening right now? And in that moment, I received the most beautiful divine download of feminine Christ consciousness that spoke to me as Mary Magdalene, who spoke to me as the divine feminine Christ consciousness, which didn't have a name. And it downloaded visuals of what I was brought up in. It showed me my childhood. It showed me what I was programmed to understand when it came to what, and I say this with air quotes, religion looks like, or what God was. And so it showed me my whole pathway with all the programming that I had from when I was able to recall, like as a very young child, up until that day, which, to be honest with you, if anyone has followed my story before, anyone knows of what has occurred to me. I had a very divine encounter, a very enlightenment experience about 7 years ago, which gifted me the ability to see and read frequency and transmute it into source energy expressed as you. And that moment, the deity that arrived for me then was God in his full self, just like the picture I had seen on my grandparents' wall of him in his like long white cloak robe with a rope around his waist, his long hair. He was young, and that's how he appeared to me. And in that moment, I was gifted some magnificent capacities in this reality as a human female, and it took me a bit to figure it all out and to understand it and understand myself and my role in this reality here now. And on its 7th year, I was gifted then this experience into feminine divinity, which I didn't even know such thing could exist. So as I'm still translating it, this show is an invitation for you to not only hear the story that occurred to me in this way, but to be able to perhaps see your own self in this way. Because I was literally looking in the mirror, and I wasn't in inquisition of anything. I wasn't asking any questions. I was just being me, right? I was standing in my space, owning my own self, my power, my love of like the process of getting ready for something, of getting in connection to where I'm headed, and to literally setting myself up to feel complete. So what occurred last week when I received this divine download was I was able to see how I was raised and what that looked like. So to actually see the religion, I was brought up in a Catholic household. We went to Catholic grade school. We went to church every Sunday. It was a get up and get dressed. It was a family moment. You know, there's all kinds of really cool traditions that we had with it. And it was all led by a masculine aspect of divinity, right? Of religion. And that just was normal. I mean, that's all we knew, right? We grew into it. We learned about it. We look back at it. We base our religions oftentimes on that. And so I didn't even know it was a thing, or it had more to it until last week, until this beautiful divine download was virtually download into me, into my awareness, into my consciousness, into my openness to receive. And so I'm going to, over the course of the rest of the show, I'm going to speak it into you, into what that looks like for you and how that could feel for you, so that you could see yourself in that space, that holistic opening of as a Christ consciousness on a whole new level, embodying the feminine and masculine together. It's very holistic. And so I'm speaking to you from the space of still understanding it myself, really stepping into that space of divine, like, feels like motherhood, where I can see now from different perspectives of not so much my left brain, which I played a lot in the left brain, analytical things, logical things make sense, this, that, and the other from that, masculine space, and now from the feminine aspect, where it's a birthing process. It's a comforting, nurturing relationship in connection with humanity. And so it's so, so beautiful to be able to bring this to you today, and in a live fashion where I'm open. I'm open to deliver. I'm transparent, and I'm willing to share with you something that, about a decade ago, I'm sure I wouldn't have said a bleeping word out. So here you go. If this is you, is where I'm going to go with this. If this is you, where you're feeling like there's something missing, but you don't quite know what it is, or if this is you when you're in your life and you're one half of your life or 3/4 of your life is really, really working and it's popping, it's kicking. It might be you're great with your business and your money and all those things are going, but something on the other side is missing. Perhaps it's relationships. relationship-based or relationships and all together, maybe with friendships or family. If this is you, where you feel like there might actually be something that's missing and you just can't put your finger on it, let me share this with you now, or at least allow yourself to be open to hear that there is a whole feminine aspect to your own divinity, to your own energetic awareness, your own energetic representation on this planet, as whether you're a man, woman, or other in this beautiful body that we have. There is a duality in what the Christ consciousness looks like. And I'm speaking only from my own experience, so this has no judgment against anyone or anything else as they see it differently. This is 100% my perspective. And the intention in this show is to deliver my perspective to you and that you may see yourself in your perspective. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. So let's start with the one thing that I feel called to share with you is the power of I am, right? We all have heard that before. You know, the power of I am, when you speak it out loud, you are evoking I am this. So, you know, it goes on a negative and a positive aspect, right? If someone who's continuously telling themselves that they are like, if they're saying I am scared or I'm afraid or, you know, I'm missing something or I'm lacking, any of those things, you know exactly what occurs. They create that perpetual motion into those frequencies of whatever you say, I am, and that aspect arrives, right? So a lot of times it's our subconscious mind, the programming that we have, and it's our self-talk. What are we telling ourselves all day long? Based on the stimulation that we're seeing, whether it's with our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, whatever it is, whatever we're experiencing, we're having a self-talk, and it's all happening in our heads. The I am space is literally the power of your verbal creation or your mental verbal creation, so your self-talk creation. I am that, which all along, when you look at the story of Moses, is God, you know, responding to Moses saying, yes, my name is I am that I am. That is the name of God. Right? So there we go. That was my first indicator into my initiation into the conscious divinity that I became, like all 7 years ago. And so from that space, I am that I am has been the magical power to everything. So being conscious about stating like I am passionate, I am loving, I am abundant, being in that space to constantly reiterate what's truly possible and what you'd like to create in the world. And it also can be on the other side too. I catch myself saying it on the negative space, like, oh, I'm frustrated or I am irritated, whatever those things look like as well. But from the I am space, I always carried that with God in my pocket, right? Because that's what my experience was of him. Of course, I learned, you know, the story of Moses and how God tells him his name, and it's I am that I am, and I carry that in my back pocket, and that is my magical creator. And as I move through the years, more and more, even teaching on that topic or celebrating that topic, I found a huge, huge area of success with everything I've created and with those that I work with. And so we're going to head into a break in another about minute and 10 seconds. And what I'm going to speak into after that is the power of the other side of the coin, right? So I am that I am speaks to the God consciousness, which I always called it God in the masculine form. That is the picture I had in my head. And you may too, or it's any God that you're thinking, like whatever you align with in that, you know, other higher power consciousness that resides with you, in you, through you, and with and around you. I leaned into that space. And so creating from that space is very powerful. And now that I look back, all the masculine aspects of creation came to fruition for me. And in my perspective, not a lot was missing. Not a lot. Until my last week's experience. So we'll bring that forward. We're going to step into a break and we'll talk about the feminine divine I am and what that creates in your world and how when you combine them together, the magic that be. So you are listening to the Crossroads to Awakening show with Wendy Paquette. I am your host. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Wendy Paquette, and before the break, we were diving into the I am form of creation, that my perception is the masculine aspect of the God consciousness that we can utilize as a powerful human on this planet to actualize and manifest in our reality. And so where we were headed now is last week I had a beautiful divine conscious download, which gifted me the opportunity to see both sides, or two sides to this divine consciousness, which, I admitted earlier in the show that I didn't even really knew existed. I mean, yes, we talk about, feminine aspects of divinity and consciousness, like Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary, all Kuan Yin, like you can name them all. And I didn't put two and two together. I didn't see them as equal, I guess. I didn't really even look at them from that perspective as whether they were equal or not equal. I just didn't look there. And I got the most magical divine goddess, touch upon the cheek when I was delivered with all of this beautiful information and downloaded into my beingness, into my conscious awareness, and now I get to live it and experience it. So here I am sharing it with all of you as I see it thus far. So before the break, we were talking about, when you use the words I am, you are pulling forth and actualizing in truth that which you would like to be, have, or do. And you're pulling it into this reality by stating, I am that, whatever that is, right? And so that was delivered to us, and from my perspective, that is, through the God consciousness. I am that I am, right? When I learned that through the Moses code, the Moses story. So through there, I have been extremely successful in manifesting on that level and understanding that our mental self-talk has a lot to do with how that actually works, because you can delete something as quickly as you can create something in your head. And it is in literal sense. You'll see how you're all fired up about something and you will make a request out to the world like, I am abundant. And then in the very next move, you'll be doing something and realize that you forgot to pay a bill and now you're being charged $30 for a late charge or something. And then you will feel really hard on yourself and go right into the space of lack and uncreate and neutralize that which you declared earlier, which that I am abundance, right? Over looking around and going, wow, I got an abundance of charges. Like looking at it from a very silly perspective of I get to learn XYZ lesson in order to step into my abundance. Great. So where we get to go now is there is this other side that I never ever knew existed, that I never knew was possible, that I never acknowledged before. And that is a very divine, feminine Christ consciousness. It's a space like no other. It feels like birth in that you finally have yourself in your arms. You've come to the space where your understanding of your own beautiful softness in a feminine space has arrived. So it feels like a literal like cradling in your arms of a genuine aspect of love that you're here to take care of. And it's creation itself, like literally birthing through something that is creation itself. Now, my perspective now, after being able to put both of these sides together, the feminine and the masculine God consciousness, what I'm seeing, and that's just in this moment as I'm still learning and understanding, is that both aspects come together in a harmonic delivery of all possibilities. So it has a nurturing element, it has a gifting element, it has a receiving element, and it has a movement to it, which to me feels like the other side. It feels almost like the masculine aspect. So it feels like science, numbers. It has aspects on the left brain and right brain. So that's where I'm going with this. We're looking at how we put all these aspects together and what they feel like in one human body is, for lack of better words, it feels like balance, although I don't believe balance is really truly a thing, but it feels like a coming together, a holistic coming together of completeness. So the masculine energy and the feminine energy, the masculine side of like the God I am and the feminine aspect of the goddess I am, coming together to deliver a holistic expression of you, right? And a holistic expression of you. So I'm seeing, Jen, you're listening to Mary Magdalene Revealed. And you know what? I really haven't, I'm guided. I haven't read it yet. That was what or even listened to it yet. And I'm always guided divinely to learn about everything after I've experienced it in a divine moment. So I get a divine download. I am shocked by it. I'm like, whoa, what was that, right? So I'm literally looking at what it is I've been downloaded with, and then suddenly I'm led to the evidence in books that explains what I've experienced. It's cool. It's so much fun. And I wouldn't want it any other way, because then I would feel like I was making it up, right? If I read it first and then had the experience, I would think, wow, I'm good at making stuff up. Like, as a trained actor, that's so easy. And it's always the opposite. So I've known of that book before, the Mary Magdalene Revealed before, and I wasn't called to read it. And this is why, because I get to now. And other aspects of what this divine goddess energy has given me was the awakening of dormant blocks that I carried that I was unaware of. So when it comes to manifesting, it's not just about I am that, like I want this, or I would like this, or this is what I want to create. Because that is the masculine aspect of creation, is having that, knowing that you want something, or knowing that you like to experience something. Where the feminine aspect comes in, or the goddess aspect comes in that I'm experiencing, is in the actualizing piece of it, where it's almost like sitting in the creational space of it, where you can feel it arriving. You can feel it coming forward. You can feel the lessons that you're being gifted, and you can acknowledge them in that space, and it's almost as painful as birth, as I've been going through some of those acknowledgments lately. But it feels like that. And what is delivered out into the world is the actual manifestation, which feels like the other side of, the masculine aspect of manifestation, or the I am aspect in the masculine side. So all of it coming together, I hope I'm not like losing you all in this space, but it is literally my expression of what's just occurred. So embodying both of those pieces and being able to feel it through in my reality has been really interesting. And I've had a lot of, things bubble up for me that I didn't even know I was carrying around with me. So if you're following along and you've kind of got the gist of the story, last week I had a really divine awakening to a feminine Christ consciousness, which came together with my experience 7 years ago of my masculine divine consciousness to gift me the ability to see a very holistic, a very connected divine experience on this planet as a human, like in a human body. And so what I'm delivering right now, if you're just joining us, is that I'm expressing what it looks like when you're manifesting or when you're actualizing, which is in this reality, every given moment. We are actually manifesting every single moment. And we're shifting parallels in those moments when we see something's not working. Or maybe we're staying in it so that we can gain a bigger understanding or a better understanding of where we're at. And it's all my perspective, right? It's different for everyone. I totally don't judge anyone for their perspectives on what this looks like. And this is mine. And my intention is that perhaps you can see yourself in some of these spaces. And then if you haven't experienced both sides yet, to invite the other aspect in. Because perhaps you started out on the goddess side. Perhaps you're like embodying that space of feminine Christ consciousness, and you're that already. You're in that feminine divine space already. And what you get to invite in is the God aspect of the I am, the God consciousness, to complete the holistic nature of your divine being. So many things. I realize it's a lot. And, it's life for me. That's kind of how it's being delivered. So that you're hearing my story and that potentially you are seeing yourself somehow in it, you get to call forward the other piece for you, whether it's a feminine side or the masculine side of a Christ consciousness in any capacity. The invitation is there to be in completion with those aspects so that you can embody it, live it, and truly raise your frequency to a space where life looks different and the world we've created up until now looks and feels different because we said so. Because on purpose, we're going to the space of creating a new reality from, a holistic space of having both of those pieces together and walking forward into our reality with both pieces intact so we can see where, our nurturing side gets to come into play to support someone in being heard. And we also see where did I say masculine? I meant to say feminine side, where someone gets to be heard, in the masculine side, where we get to action and being the doing space and creating something to occur. Because not everyone's in that space of like taking action, right? They're in the space of like seeing it and acknowledging it, but not actually moving. And that doesn't keep the evolutionary aspect of being human going. So in order to create a new reality, if we don't like what we're seeing, we get to really see it. Like, what is it trying to show us? And what aspect is missing, right? Are we seeing the feminine side of how everyone's being supported, but we're not actually seeing something being in action to move forward? Then we get to pull that aspect out, pull that viewpoint out, and see how we can make a difference in the world. And that's how truly I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as a very natural way of moving through the world and being able to flex into an aspect of Christ consciousness that is supportive to humanity itself, based on what we're seeing in front of us. So that we're moving into our next break already, I'm going to speak into, when we come back, how we can actually see it in the world and what that could look like for you if you're looking in your mirror. So that's kind of exciting as well, because both aspects are available to us, but which one would you like to see, or which one have you seen already, and what can you evoke from yourself? So let's talk about that. So this is the Crossroads to Awakening show. We're on the Inspired Choices Network on this beautiful aspect in this reality, and we will be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the crossroads to awakening. This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. Wow, what a show. It's so interesting to be in this space and be able to express myself so freely. So I would really, really love to support anyone who's in the space of curiosity, because even though I've just kind of awakened to that aspect of myself, I certainly understand it and am able to communicate it clearer than I ever have, really, truly. And so that piece to me is exciting because I'm here on purpose as well, right? My door is open to have a conversation around what it could look like for you, how you can access those aspects of yourself in this reality, and how you can create change based on your understanding of yourself. So in this moment, I'm just reading Jen's comment of, have you noticed specifically what has been changing since your experience? I have felt a softening of my response, my softening of how I respond to things in this reality that I'm seeing, that I'm noticing. And I've also noticed things that I might have been hiding on myself, like ways of being. For instance, I had a secret people pleaser. And so we'll go into this too, because perhaps this is you. I had a secret people pleaser. Yes. I mean, I hate to admit it. I had a very strong masculine side of myself. And in all of it, what's been coming forward and really to the surface for me is this people pleaser, this fear of me saying something that is my truth, right? Not everyone's truth, but my truth, and having someone not like me, right? And truly, it's in this space where maybe I've known them before. I've known them for a while. And I had this secret space that I didn't want to be truthful about how I was feeling, for I wouldn't want them to not like what I had to say or therefore not like me. And boy, if that hasn't been in my face since the day that I had my experience last week, I don't know what else is. It has been showing up everywhere. And, I don't know if any of you have done any leadership work, but leadership work in this reality is being 100% responsible for what shows up for you, seeing it, owning it, and shifting it, right? So you get to acknowledge what it is. And for me, it was all these little spaces that I was being a people pleaser. Unbelievable. For the powerful human that I have become, I certainly didn't see that coming. And it was right in my face over and over and over again. And so what it looks like, and so thank you so much for that question, Jen, because what it looks like to have these hidden aspects show up for yourself when you call forward the other side of the Christ consciousness, whether it's, the feminine or the masculine. For me, from the feminine aspect, what showed up, that people pleaser, was where am I not owning my truth, in that I would sacrifice my own feelings, my own understanding of myself for someone else's ease, right? So that someone else is easeful in their life because heaven forbid, I say something that they don't like, and therefore then they don't like me, whatever that could mean, as though I would deliberately hurt anyone from any space. Oh, how crazy that has been in the last week. And so as it comes up for me, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable in a space, not just in acknowledging it, but it's uncomfortable in that it evokes emotions that cause you to feel confused because you're wondering, like, where are these emotions coming from and why are they coming up for me? And so I got to acknowledge that people pleaser space in me where I'm willing to say yes without knowing the answers because I want that person to be happy about my answer, and B, then figuring out later that it might not be in perfect alignment, and up until now not saying anything because I didn't want them to be upset that I was speaking my truth. Talk about a people pleaser that's in full destruction of your heart. Because there's only one thing that gets hurt in those situations, and it's not the other person, it's you. Because what you come to find out is they have their own opinion about what's actually going on. And so they're making it up. So in that space, I completely found a people pleaser that I didn't know existed. And to be honest with you, I was more in shock and dismay. I'm like, what? How could I have a people pleaser, a hidden one? So I acknowledge it fully. I also have shifted into my full power and am owning those situations and those expressions where I evoked a people pleaser situation in order to show it to myself. So let's dive into that piece, right? I love this ability to be able to see me fully, right? To see this hidden people pleaser, acknowledge that people pleaser, and then set it free with power, where I'm now standing in my own powerful space and going, wow, all my life, where has that shown up? Where was I a people pleaser? So let's get down to you. Where in your life have you evoked a people pleaser? I mean, I'm not saying that's for everybody. That's just, sometimes it's hard to acknowledge, right? Where you say yes to someone because you want them to be happy about the yes, and really deep down, it's like, I don't know, can I think about that for a minute? Or it's a flat out no, one or the other. But you said what you know that they wanted to hear first. And then later found a way to dismiss it or to set it aside or to pretend that you were letting it go, all the while crushing what your real truth was it could have been, hey, I'm not sure yet. Give me a day. Or B, it could have been a no, a flat out no, and you found yourself like with the yes flying out of your face before you had a chance to stop it. That is a space where you get to stand and look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I serving when I do that? And not only who am I serving, because it's certainly not you. You're serving someone else outside of you, which doesn't do anything for anyone truly. And in that same moment, what prices am I paying for being a people pleaser when I'm serving someone else before I serve myself? It's like put the oxygen mask on put them on them first so that you can die and then not save another soul. It doesn't make any sense, right? So where am I not putting my own oxygen mask on first so that I could support others? And in what ways would my life be different if I owned my truth? If I stood strong in my convictions? Just imagine, and let's lead into like what's dropped into my awareness in this moment is a story about Jesus. What if Jesus was like, and I mean, if you all know me, I'm not a huge religious person, but I've had all these deity experiences, so I can't not talk about it. But can you imagine if Jesus walked the earth and he was like, oh, you know what? I don't want to let them know that I can heal people because what if they don't like it? What if they don't like me? What if they don't believe it? Like, what a different story that would be in our world, in the Bible, in all stories that circulate, if that's the type of human that he was. So I'm leaning into the space of looking at it from, like, who are you actually serving when you're lying to yourself that someone else's version of your answer is better than your own, right? Where are you not acknowledging your own truth in that space? So that's one key piece. If that is you, you get to have a short giggle and then get a handle on that sucker because it will change your life. It really will, because as you start looking around, it lurks everywhere. It could be in your current relationships. Maybe you're in some kind of a relationship now, maybe with a husband or a wife, Or maybe it's in a business relationship. Oh, heaven forbid, a business relationship, because, saying yes to your business partner for the sake of them wanting to hear a yes is not a great business decision. That could be an absolute disaster. And then again, who are you serving, right, in that moment? And it could be in your relationship to food, of all things. Like, where are you in, a restaurant, and the server is encouraging you to speed up, and therefore your family members or friends are encouraging you to speed up to make a decision, and you say something just to say it because your finger's on the burger and your eyeballs on the salad, right? So you go to that space of like, who am I really serving in this moment, right? I say salad, my body's craving a burger, I lean for the salad because it seems like the best thing and I'm in a hurry and I'm just going to blurt it out, and it doesn't serve anyone, not even yourself. That's not owning your truth. That is being a people pleaser. Because what you're really worried about is your friends who are encouraging you to speed it up because the server might be in a hurry, not really owning your own power and strength and capacity. So, the people pleaser, it'll show up. It'll sneak up on you. Let me tell you, I've learned that for myself. So that's one of the things that has arrived that is unmistakable in my reality that I've been shifting, and I've been working on shifting for the better part of the last couple of days, actually, because transformation is uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And it would be something that we would choose on a regular basis, but it's not. And so my encouragement to you would be, if you're identifying that people pleaser in yourself, and I'm only using that one aspect as an example, if you're acknowledging a people pleaser in yourself, lean into the uncomfortableness of it and commit to yourself to create a space where you can own your truth in that same scenario, whether it's with a relationship, whether it's with food, whether it's with a server, whether it's with a friend, whatever that place is, whether it's with a client, maybe client, business client relationship, give yourself permission to own it. Because if you don't, let me be very clear, if you do not acknowledge those moments that arrive for you where you get to break through that aspect, where you're not standing tall in your truth, owning that, it will come back bigger. No doubt, bigger than life itself, and you really don't want that. Unless you do, of course, then choose it. But me, no. I realize now that it's uncomfortable in the smallest of situations, and what I do know in that space is once you break through one of those uglies that shows up hiding, you really, truly never have to break through it again, because the mere uncomfortableness of it will cause you to never go there. You'll see it first, you'll see it coming, and you will step into something more powerful, which is acknowledging that your truth matters and that you have value. And if there's one thing I was gifted for sure with this divine feminine conscious download, it is I am valuable, and I own that. And my invitation for you is to stand here with me, put your hand on your heart, and say it out loud. I am valuable. I am valuable. And every word I say matters. And I'm a kind, loving human, and that is where I get to go when it comes to what gets created in this world and what I'm manifesting and where my come from is. I'm not serving anyone by people-pleasing anyone. I am hurting myself in that space, and I'm crushing my own value. So, with that beautiful question, Jen, that you gave me, that is the answer that came out. It is actually the biggest blessing of my life in the last couple of weeks that I haven't acknowledged up until now, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the humans that created it, and I'm grateful that I'm stepping into it and uncomfortably through it so that I may be on the other side and not have to learn those lessons again, in which case I'm sure something else may arrive, which that is our journey, right? That is what our journey is here on this planet as humans in training, right? Growing and expanding and ever evolving into a space of uplifted high frequency so that our reality could be the space of peace as we all know it can be, because that's where we're headed anyway. So let's embrace it and move forward through this uncomfortableness of what's before us, all this truth that we're learning. So what we will do is completely come back from the break. I believe we're going into a break, And we're going to come back on the other side with, I have the mirror possibility for you. So as I'm going to take you through what occurred in my position and how I saw it, and I believe I said that at the beginning of the show, I will reiterate a small piece, but I'd like you to tap into the same. Let's see what's truly possible on the other side of, owning your divine consciousness on both feminine and masculine aspects, and see what's truly possible, because we really get to go there. You get to embody all that is yours to have, all that is yours to experience, and truly breaking through these little hidden sneaky fellas that for me showed up as people pleaser, and that for you could show up as anything else, and you'll get to acknowledge that as you look in the mirror. So hopefully we got Jen on there hearing me so that we can go into a break now, and we come back, we're going to look in the mirror. So we'll be right back. This is Inspired Choices Network, and it's such a pleasure to be here to share this experience with you. I'm really excited. So we'll be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. Boy, what a show, right? What a way to actually bring in divine feminine consciousness. I love it. And it has been one of the biggest blessings in my life so far, aside from, of course, having my beautiful son and having the first beautiful conscious awakening that I had about 7 years ago. So now, on the other side of understanding a bit what this looks like, at least for me, and my actual intention is that for you, somehow you can see where this other aspect can be invited in. And I wanted to speak into that for just one moment. The invitation is in, asking for it to arrive, which shows that you're open. It's showing that divine feminine consciousness or divine masculine God consciousness to arrive and land where it must inside of your awareness, your consciousness, so that you can embody it. It's literally bringing in your higher self and allowing you as a human to live as that, right? Really live as your higher self. And it is all-encompassing. It's holistic. It's holographic, which is where a space I speak into all the time and where I work from and transmute frequencies from is a holographic nature. That's where it lives. So call it in. Be the invitation for your divine consciousness to arrive, whatever it looks like. And if you can't identify one from the other, it doesn't matter. Call it in and be open and be an allowance of what that gifts you so that you could have the aspect of your higher self be present here in this physical body now. It's quite fascinating, and it will literally change your life. It will pull more love, more peace, more joy, more possibility, more connection through like never before. And that's where we get to be right now. So what I would like you to do, and I can send you off with this total amazing experience, and it has been now twice that when I've had some type of divine massive download, it's always been in the mirror. So I'm putting two and two together. I don't know about you, but the mirror, looking into it, has a reflection, a true quantum reflection of your soul, right? They always say your eyes are the window to your soul. Well, what would it take for you to actually go into the mirror and look into your own soul and make these declarations of possibility by inviting divine consciousness in truly through your soul. Like making the request and being open to receive in the same moment is the actual expression of an infinite consciousness, right? If you see the infinity symbol, imagine the infinity symbol. It's hitting the mirror and coming back to you. It's going out as a request, coming back as the divine consciousness that you get to receive by merely asking, and seeing from that space where you can embody your higher self in the ways that you never have before, invited in whatever speed or length of time, like if time exists in your reality in that way, invite it in and be willing to open up and really, really receive yourself. Because you're divinely met. There isn't a human on this planet that doesn't have a heart, that they're living, that they have a soul, and that they have access to it, right? We're not in a space where we can't actualize anything in our reality without our awareness of it or our asking for it. So whether you like it or not, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, they will show up because you're in constant state of asking. It's a bodily thing, right? Whether it's just that we're hungry, we're asking for food, or we're asking for a divine intervention of a high self merging, right? Of a dropping in of something so beautiful that when you're looking into your own eyes, you're feeling the welling of tears of joy that you actually see yourself. Because when you see yourself, others are now allowed to see you. It's the most beautiful thing that could occur. It's the most divine gift that you could give yourself that doesn't cost you anything except for a moment in time where you stare into the depths of your own soul to be in open receivership of the greatest aspects of you here on this planet now, dropped in to your body to live as a divine consciousness here now. It's so incredibly beautiful. I'm experiencing it as that now, and I'm learning. It's only been a week, not even that. So really walk yourself into the bathroom and look into the mirror, or into your bedroom and look into the mirror, wherever your mirror might be, and be in open receivership of you, because your heart will fill and swell with love and possibility and peace like never before. And you might think it sounds like a really simple thing to do until you walk into the room and see yourself in the mirror. If you don't burst into tears from the acknowledgement that you're finally willing to see yourself and allow others to see you, I will be surprised. So that is my invitation to you, the mirror. Look at yourself. Gaze into your soul and acknowledge your existence, because it is divine and it's here and it's capable of more things than you've ever imagined. It's capable of creating more things in your reality than you've ever been willing to receive. And that is a divine gift that you can't have taken from you, because it's from you to you. And in this holographic reality, you are me. I am you. We are one in this space together, and my invitation for you and my permission is granted to you to have everything you've ever wanted by being open and loving with yourself. So as we move into this last 30 seconds into the show, I want to express my absolute gratitude for your ears and your energy and your listening to whatever this show is gifted to you, because my intention is that it does, that it opens up a space where you can receive yourself like never before, where you can have the type of love you've been after. You can experience that level of peace that you've been craving, and that you can own your life like never before. So I look forward to what happens next week in this amazing divine creation. We will definitely see you on the flip side. All my love to you. We'll see you next time on the Crossroads to Awakening show. I am Wendy Paquette, and come join me online, wendypaquette.com. Let's see what we can play with. Much love, everybody. We'll see you next time. Mwah.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Crossroads to Awakening radio show. Wendy Paquette will return next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We look forward to you joining us again. Until then, enjoy your journey and we'll meet you at the crossroads.